Ahoy hoy!
Ahoy hoy!
He's Straw.
He's Parker.
And together we are...
The Bat and Hammer.
Oh yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
are. So, firstly, we would like to welcome you all, but not you,
Welcome.
to a...
Welcome.
Welcome. To a new sit... No, we don't want to have lots of those sort of jokes, because this could be important.
Out your endo.
No. We'd like to welcome you to the first in a so many part series. I can't remember how many factions there are. In the first in an 8-part series of a faction breakdown for Wexodus.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this, you say?
Because we want to.
Because we want to.
Yeah, if you recognise that reference, let us know in the comments down below. You're as old and lame as
we are. True. So, we thought to get this little wagon rolling...
Oh, that's what you did there. Wagons,
Roll.
robots, roll out. No, that's someone else.
No. We thought we'd start with the factions we know. So, this episode is all about the Enlightened.
Yes, the
Dirty, filthy Enlightened.
The lovely, lovely scientific geniuses that is the Enlightened. This is the faction that actually got me into the game.
Why?
Well, why? Countess Augusta Byron is why. She was my first love in Wild West Exodus, and continues to be so.
Aww.
I heart her a great deal.
So, let's talk Enlightened.
Yeah.
Drum roll, lightning flashes, picture behind us. I don't bloody know what we're doing. So, what do we get then, Parky?
So,
what are the goods and the bads and the uglies?
So you did that. Very good, Dr. Jones.
I'm rolling.
So,
Oh, I'm good. He's bad and ugly. I could keep doing this for a few dollars more.
So the Enlightened are a group of people who are, for want of a better word, slightly unhinged scientific geniuses, potentially, mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
So all of Wild West Exodus is set in arguably a diesel punk world. Steampunk is further on from steampunk, so it's probably diesel punk. But actually, the super fuel that powers the world in which we live is generally known to be RJ1027, which is this red goo.
Can I just interrupt? That's a very specific number.
It is.
Is there a reason for that?
Yes.
Oh. And what is that reason?
Actually, Burson Carpathian, father of the Enlightened, he's not actually one of the heads of the Enlightened, but he's a character you can use. He's available in a posse box. When he created RJ1027,
wasn't he shown how to make it by a mysterious?
He has. Yeah, I mean there are ways, and you can write if you want to read all the proper actual fluff. It's in the rulebook, which you can buy for 10 Earth pounds, or no, 8 Earth pounds.
I don't know.
Some Earth money, or you can actually download it for free on the internet if you go to the Wild West Exodus website.
So that number is a specific number.
Yeah, it is a reason. His wife's, him and his wife's anniversary is 27th of October.
And wasn't it also the number of?
Yeah, the original Kickstarter. There were
a little bit.
1,027 Kickstarter people, so they call it RJ1027, which is nice. So there's out of world and in world reasons for it to be.
So it's a sort of
specific
power.
Yeah, it's a red goo that powers things. That is one of the super fuels that you will be aware of in the Wild West Exodus world, and it's kind of how especially the constructs, which are one of the Enlightened's tools, are kind of powered and fueled by this goo. And they do have if you see any weapons or anything like that with the juiced special rule, or the overcharged special rule, for example, Creation 7, who we'll get onto in a little while, he's got a juiced napalm gun, so that'll be powered by
There's probably a picture of him about there by now. Scary old bugger.
Big two-headed monstrosity that he is. So if I was going to sell you the Enlightened, think Frankenstein's monster-styly monstrosities, not undead creatures. Are definitely not undead. They are not reanimated corpses. They are living, breathing people.
They are reanimated corpses once they've died.
Once they've died, they do become semi-reanimated. Lots of weird and wonderful gadgets, and yeah, like I say, big Frankenstein's monsters, and
just think twisted scientists.
Twisted scientists, yes.
Yeah,
I would see them as more future visionists, you know, who have a goal for humanity.
I look at them as sick and twisted, and they need putting down.
Well, you are wrong. So there are, as far as I know, at time of video release, there will be 3 posse boxes available. Obviously, we hope you know what a posse box is by now. But you will have the Father of the Enlightened posse box, which will have Burson Carpathian, the top-hatted gentleman with an atomic blunderbuss, his assistant Harmony Ratchet, Big Bad John Younger, with his many arms, who I love, and a couple of brutes. You've also got the Dixie Resurrection, where you have Annabelle Hamilton and her cadre of hombres.
Yeah, and then there's...
And there'll be my personal favourite, Countess Augusta Byron, with the Galvanic Mysteries posse box, which I think is on pre-order at the moment, but will be out in the next kind of week or two at time of filming.
We hope.
Well,
I don't know.
It's pre-ordered,
so like her, she's a cow.
it'll be out. As far as rules and stuff, generally speaking, the hands aren't very good compared to hands in other forces, but they do have the reanimate special rule. If you have someone with Carpathogen nearby, which I inevitably forget, you can reanimate them once they die, and they can come back to fighting prowess, where they're not quite as good as they were originally. They tend to be kind of not so heavy on the faces, although there are quite a few available, but in a force you won't see too many of them. It tends to be a boss, a couple of faces, a bunch of hands, and then maybe a couple of big monstrosities and support.
But we'll come into what's in the support sections later. So what's a standard posse card then for...
So, if we have a look at the Enlightened faction posse, this is not a theme posse, this is just the standard that any Enlightened boss can take.
About coming up,
Hopefully there-ish.
if I put something like that, wobble it about, I'll know that there's a picture there for you.
So the first slot you can have up to 2 Enlightened hands units. Again, we're focusing on the hands immediately straight out the gate. The second one is an Enlightened face and or an Enlightened hands. Third slot is up to 2 Enlightened hands or non-vehicle support units. Fourth is Enlightened face and or an Enlightened non-vehicle support unit. 5 is up to 2 Enlightened hands or an Enlightened support unit, and 6 is an Enlightened face or an Enlightened support unit. So really you've only got 1, 2, 3 potentials for Enlightened faces. So in, for example, the Outlaws, you can squeeze up to, I think, 4 faces in a standard posse.
In standard, yeah.
So you can only squeeze up to 3, but there's loads of spaces for hands and a fair amount for support as well.
Yeah.
Especially non-vehicle support if you want those big monstrosities like Creation 7.
And brutes. Brutes
Brutes are support, yeah, and they're a non-vehicle support, so they fill that role quite nicely.
So that's a standard.
Yeah. And I would say, yeah, I mean, obviously you have to take at least a hands unit before you can take anything else, and you will tend to take quite a few hands units. They are, statistically, they're generally...
What are the hands units in
so you've got
Force then?
the Enlightened Menials and the Enlightened Henchmen, or sorry, the Construct Menials and Henchmen, which are the kind of dudes with, they're just like normal kind of semi-zombie dudes. You've got ones like close combat and ones with rifles.
Are they skirmishers?
They are not skirmishers, no.
So they are basically the same as any other normal...
Yeah, they're the same as any other hands unit. Their base stats, like their fight and aim, are lower. But they do have, they can be reactivated with Carpathogen.
And what's the limit on them? Do they have, is that just one?
They're 3 to 6, like most hands units. The other hands choices are the Seekers, who are the wheel robots. They've got little wheelie feet. Or you've got the Widowers, who are the spidery bots. And they both have advantages. The wheel ones have got Ripper pistols, so they fire twice. But they've got pierce nothing.
And haven't they got moving target?
Yeah, they do have moving target. They've got a base move of 7 and rapid, so they can focus their move for free
That's
So
9
a
inches.
base 9-inch move without focusing or anything else.
And then
It's
they
really
become
quick.
shrouded.
And they become shrouded, and then they've got 2 shots each with their ripper pistols, but there's pierce nothing, so tend to be fire a lot of shots and nothing much happens.
There's obviously going to be the sort of unit you're going to hold back, aren't they, and zip off to grab objectives,
Yeah.
or depending on your card, if you need to get a hands unit into the other deployment zone.
They're perfect for that.
Yeah.
For sending off and doing their own little thing. Then we have the Abomination Widowers, the spider robots, and they have the Trail Finder and Agile special. They're slightly slower because they've only got a quickness of 6 as opposed to a quickness of 7, compared to normal the other hands units. But because they've got Trail Finder and Agile, they move ahead, so they move 6 inches ahead of time, so they're good at getting those objectives like early doors.
Especially the ones like in the treasure hunt where you've got to be base to base at the start of your activation to open it.
Yeah.
Brilliant
So
for
then
that.
you can move ahead of time without having to, and you don't do that in the actual first movement phase. And because they're agile, they can climb and jump, and they don't have to make climb and jump tests. They just move across things. And they've got medium bases as well. For people at home who don't know, any scenery that your base width is higher than, so if you take your base and it's this wide and you flip it up that way, if your base is higher than the piece of scenery, you can climb over it without a bother.
They have got big bases.
So if
for
they've
that.
got big medium bases, they're more
Is it a
like
buttery biscuit?
It's not a buttery biscuit base. They have Reaper rifles, which are range 18, pierce -2, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good for
They
me.
do only have an aim of 4. One important thing to note about all of these hands units for the Enlightened is they do all have the fail-safe implants. This is something I don't tend to use a lot of, which is probably one reason I fail.
Is that the ones that blow up?
Yeah, they've essentially got built-in suicide vests. The weapon has the Suicide, Shred and Blast special rules. Range self, unsurprisingly, pierce -1, rate of attack 1. But they do also have the fail-safe detonator special rule. Should this unit use a weapon with a suicide quality, it automatically passes any aim checks. So you can move them in, blow them up, and they will automatically hit everything around them.
But there was no blast radius, was there?
Yes, so
there was
blast.
blast.
So you move them in, blow them up.
But they all blow up. They will all affect each other.
They will all affect each other. So if you can kind of spread them out a little bit, then they can. Hopefully, you don't want to overlap.
So you could. So you don't have to blow them all up. You could just move one in and blow him up.
No,
so.
because you would fire that weapon. You would effectively choose the unit to fire that weapon.
But are they tasked?
They are tasked.
Ah.
So they will have to fire the same weapon at the same target.
But so you got 5 of them. They all run forward and go blow up. Can they then reanimate?
I believe they can. As far as I'm aware, you can reanimate them.
OP. What do all the bits start crawling? Oh, I suppose they would, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That the last little bit of RJ just powering them up to keep them going.
Ooh, that's
We were talking about reanimating, so I'll just read you the Carpathogen special rule, which is how you will be getting a lot of your reanimating. From,
you will.
Yeah,
He
I
won't.
will forget many times, which is why I've just bought.
It's-
I can't remember the guy's name. I just bought that guy with the big stick because he's got Carpathogen, so I can have an extra Carpathogen in my army.
It's purely because is it the range you keep forgetting, or
Yeah, it's
is
the
it fact
range
that
mostly.
You just forget.
This Carpathogen. This ability costs a fortune chip and may be used by this unit. So it's the unit who has it. You don't use it. The hands unit doesn't use it.
He does.
Boss uses
The boss
it,
uses
or
it,
whoever
or whoever's
has
got
the
it.
Thing. Once per turn, when a construct will be in their keywords at the top there, underneath their name. Face, hands, or support. So you can't use it on a boss. Wow. Is destroyed within 6 inches.
You use it on the face.
Yeah. Or support. I can bring back Creation 7 if I want. Maybe start again. Is destroyed within 6 inches of this unit. Immediately before tank checks are made, make D5 of the construct models are returned to the player within 3 inches of this unit.
So there's no roll. It's just the D5 of them come back,
And it costs you a fortune point.
and you haven't got to do a mind check or anything like that. They
Nope.
just come back.
They have the reanimate special rule, which means they're basically less good. They have a limit of 1 less than they normally would do. I think it would reduce, the limit is reduced by 1, and they'll become tasked. And also, if they become disordered or anything, they have to make a quick check.
Question then. So you've sent your boys in. they've all blown up, and you've rolled your dice, and you've got some of them back. Can they then blow up again?
I don't believe so. Or if they... Or maybe they can.
No!
Yeah, I don't see why not.
No! Really? I said
I don't see why not.
dice. I just think that OP. Should this unit in a separate one? But they come back with all their weapons again,
Yeah.
so I presume they can.
Maybe I should just be using like forces of
Boom.
like suicide.
Boom.
bullets. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
That's horrible.
Your face is horrible. Oh, sorry. So they are. That's a kind of a key thing to remember within the Enlightened faction. If you think like they're not undead because it's super science, but if you think more like an undead style necromancery army, where you've got like crap skeletons, but you bring them back
Keep your compathogen people.
within 6 inches of your other.
Oh,
people.
so they've all died. They've come back. Once they die again, though, that's it.
There, you can't. You can only reanimate once. Then they can't be because they count as reanimated, which is a special rule, which I have somewhere here. The unit is always disordered and has a limit of 1. Each time this unit receives a negative condition, one model in the unit must immediately pass a grit check or suffer a wound. This unit cannot be affected by Carpathogen or any other rule that would enable it to return to play or become a Hex Beast once destroyed.
Oh.
So you can't then
You can't
keep bringing
blow them
back
up, resummon them,
and then blow them up again,
Blow them up
and
again.
then resummon them and just keep
or then
doing
turn them
that.
into a Hex Beast.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is fair.
Okay, so you've got a unit of one, of what, 3 to 6?
3 to 6 on all hands units.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
I mean, I'd be tempted to have units of 3 of the wheelie bots.
and just zoom them forward,
Just
blow
zoom
them up,
them in, blow them up,
and then reanimate,
or even
and then just hold them, just stand there, hold your opponents up.
yeah, potentially.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I'm not going to use it because I'm never going to buy them because I don't like because they're evil.
Or of course, if you're, also think of it as a defensive thing. If you've got this like unit of dudes and then they charge into combat, well, great, I'll just blow up because I can't hit you in combat and do anything particularly.
So I might as well blow up, do a whole bunch of damage. What's the modifier on blastings?
The Pierce -1, but it auto hits.
So boom, 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 and then just hope you get more than 1 or 2 back again because you can't go above your normal.
Can't go above the unit you already had, and it's D5, and you will appear within 3 inches of the person who brought them back. So, I mean, that's potentially for repositioning. You could
That's
use
good.
that. I mean,
That's
there's-
actually really
so
clever.
it is worth bearing in mind. You will have to keep.
You're playing
some
your Enlightened
fortune.
all right.
I know, right? Which is why I'm glad we're doing this. Hopefully, I'm going to
So you're going to go back and watch it. And go,
learn.
oh, I could have done that.
Have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of the 3 bosses of which there are posse boxes out, they're all relatively short range. That's one thing to be aware of. None of them have big long rifles. Countess Augusta Viren uses the torrent template, as does Dr. Carpathian, and
Annabelle's got
Hamilton's
like,
got grenades, which are
oh,
short range.
grenades.
So do bear that in mind. They're not a hugely long-ranged faction. Kind of 15 inches with your Gatling guns is probably going to be. I mean, there are a few rifles poking about in there, but don't think that you're going to have lots and lots of rifles at the back of the field picking people off.
Yeah, they're
Not
not
really
they're
like
not that
that.
kind of force, are they? They're
No.
get in your face
Kind of mid-range.
and just stand there and bug you about. I think.
Yeah.
Damn, them coyotes are getting close.
Coyotes. Yeah. Dingoes? No, they're Australian.
No, that's Australian. They're coyotes
Ah, yeah.
or arties in our case.
Wily coyote.
Wiley. Shush.
So Dr. Carpathian, he's kind of your what's the word? He's like your poster boy, really, for the Enlightened, isn't he?
Really? I thought the Countess would be.
Well, that's me because I love her. But I mean, really, he's the Enlightened dude.
He's the enlightened, like, king.
in the Wild West area. Yeah, he's definitely in the frontier. He is the father of the Enlightened, as it were. He's got a rather nasty atomic blunderbuss, which uses the torrent, and it's Pierce
Excuse me?
-3, which is pretty cool. He does also have the prodigious special rule, so when he spends fortune points, he gets +3 instead of +2, so it makes things significantly easier to hit. For example, he's got an aim of 6, +3 for that focusing puts him on 9, so he's only missing on crit fails. And because it's a torrent weapon, you can ignore cover a little bit because you get the shred special rule built in there, which is nice. He does have access to the Dark Council special rule. That means that he can bring a Hexalith into play, which can provide you an extra point of fortune. He does also have Fortune 4 base, so that gives you a lot of fortune to be able to play with Dr. Carpathian. And the Dark Council special rule I particularly like in the Enlightened faction, because a lot of your support choices, like the big Frankenstein's monster dudes that we'll get onto in a little while, and your hands units have all got a low mind, generally about 3. If you're using the Dark Council special rule to compel someone and try and make them do something, they're at mind -1, so that puts them down to mind 2. So you need 8 to succeed, so you're much more likely to be able to.
You're much more likely to fail, which is good for
for you, so you can then get them to achieve something. So again, with those widowers, for example, they move Trailblazer, so they move ahead. Then you could move them ahead with Dark Council,
and then they could have
and
their
then they
move.
can activate.
So they've basically got a threat range of
Loads,
lots.
12 before you even start, and they've got 18-inch range guns. Or of course you could use it on the wheelie bots, so they can get about, or whichever. Or you could set up a big screen at the start of the game, or move someone out of a building if you need them to move out, or even you could use, if someone charges you and they've already activated, you could compel them to move away or explode, because that's just a shoot action. So there's lots of potential with shenanigans with Dr. Carpathian having access to that Dark Council skill.
So my question is then, why don't you use him?
Because I love Countess Augusta Byron. It's that simple.
Simple as that? Okay, so what is...
I just love her.
You're just a necromancer. That's a necromancer. So what is it about her then that you specifically like?
So,
apart from the fact she's got bits from all over the place.
Yeah, I mean the aesthetic I really like. She's got this kind of Frankenstein's bride vibe going on with her big tall hair, and she looks really sassy. And the Sarah Corkwell vignette story I really love, where she gets... Because effectively she's built herself, and in her narrative she can't even remember what she used to look like anymore, because she's rebuilt herself so often. And no one really knows what she used to look like. Because just think of a Frankenstein's monster, but you're intelligent and you're like, I don't like these hands. You've got nice hands.
Oh, you've got nice hands.
And I'll have those. And you've got nice legs, and I'll have those. You know, so she's been building.
You've got a really tight waist. I want that.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that's super creepy, and I love it. And she had, so just going through her cards. So I'm not going to go through
Grit
all the
of
cards.
7.
Yeah, she's got a base grit of 7 and tough. So tough means you can re-roll your failed grit checks. So grit 7 and re-rolls is pretty damn good.
I wonder I have a trouble trying to kill that
Yeah,
cow.
she's nails. So she is probably one of the toughest bosses in the game.
But that's expensive.
Yeah, she's 250.
And she's tainted.
Yeah, she's tainted. And almost everything in the Enlightened Force is tainted. So do be aware, Hex Beasts taint checks when you die.
By Hex Beasts.
And also, I mean, don't forget, if you crit on a taint check, they just come back to life. They just go, right, fine, I'm alright.
Do they?
Yeah, if you get crit, if you pass your mind check, you become a Hex Beast under your control. If you fail your mind check, nothing happens and you just die. If you crit fail, you become a Hex Beast under your opponent's control.
Yeah.
If you crit succeed with a 10, they just shrug it off, and they're powered by the Hex Juice and the RJ 1027, and they're fine and dandy and fine.
What, so all the conditions go...
They just go back to normal. Super good. I mean, it doesn't. It very rarely happens, but when it does, it's worth doing.
oh my golly gosh. That's
so,
OP.
A couple of things with her are very specifically her grit of 7 and her tough special rule, which makes her super hardcore. She has the Carpathogen special rule, which we've been over before. She also has the Sawbones special rule.
Oh!
Any friendly unit excluding this unit within 3 inches gain the tough common rule.
Oh god, you have a Sawbones near her as well.
Well, no, she's already tough, but she then gives other people tough because she's a Sawbones, which is super handy, especially on some of your big things that maybe don't have tough, or your hands units you want to keep alive, or other face units, or whatever it is. A big Nazombu snake, for example, that with tough, which doesn't.
I don't know.
Have.
I've never seen a Nazombu snake on the table for very
whatever.
long.
She does also have the Creation special rule, which you will see a lot in the Enlightened. Is kind of not everyone in the Enlightened has it, but a lot of the big things will have it.
It's the thing, isn't it? For
It's
them?
the big.
And what's the creation rule do?
Unit may spend an additional action point to double the piercing value of a single strike action, which will definitely be a big deal later on. Furthermore, unless hit by a weapon with a piercing of -4 or greater, it may ignore the first point of piercing from an attack. Example, a weapon with piercing -3 is considered -2 against a unit with this rule. So again, that grit 7 is kind of an effective grit of 8, potentially.
That's harder than the Corcaroli.
Well, they ignore -1 and -2.
Yeah, but they get affected by the 3. You
Yeah,
get
she would.
-4.
Yeah, but it would only be -1.
OP.
So
OP.
she is super tough. She's probably one of the toughest bosses in the game. She's up there.
Time to bring in Ulysses, I think. With
Who?
his -4.
Yeah,
What's
-4 is still a thing.
Slain. What faction is he playing for? Whatever faction I damn well, please.
Outlaws,
Outlaws.
Confederates, specifically, but also mercenary outlaws and Hex.
Wow.
She has a filleting blade, which is a hand-to-hand weapon.
I've never seen her use
Pierce
it.
-1, rate of attack 1. You can up it to 2, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just there. But her special kind
Yeah,
of
but that's
attack,
a strike action though.
It
So
is a
if
strike
you
action.
if you need to kill something in a strike action,
Oh yeah. I mean, it's there and it's it's handy to have,
Yeah.
but it's not -2 up to -4. It's only -1 up to -2.
because she's got this bullshit.
But she does have a galvanic discharge, which I
She
think
can get
needs
a
to
cream
print
for.
It is a torrent weapon, so she uses the template, and it has disrupt. Disrupt affects machines and structures, machines and vehicles, I think.
Machines and
and it
vehicles.
stuns them, even if they can't normally be stunned, because it's an electrical. Think of like
My
the
young
Emperor.
apprentice.
It has brutal on the crit, pierce -2, rate of attack 1, which I think is a bit of a shame. It should have rate of attack 2 because she's got 2 hands. It did used to have rate of attack 2. I think at about 1.5, which was really good.
Horrible.
I just love her. I just love the narrative. I love the model. I just like having someone who's that tough, so you don't have to worry about your boss dying in the first turn of the game.
She is tough. She is tough. Every time she's on the table, I just want to kill her. Not because, I mean, the model is beautiful, the artwork is beautiful. I do love the character and everything about her. But she's on the table, I want her dead.
Yeah, totally.
Dead.
She has a posse box, as we were talking earlier on. It's coming out within the next weekish, 2
And
weeks.
this model is
It's bigger than the original
bigger
release.
than the original. Sorry.
And it comes with Creation 5, Creation 10 and Creation 13, who are creations, unsurprisingly.
Big old models.
Big old models, and Mantis. And I just can't wait for this to come out. So I haven't got the card with me, but
You haven't got any of those creations, have you? Those 3 creations? You got any?
no, I haven't got those ones yet.
That's handy then.
It is handy. So her special theme posse means she can take a lot of creations. She doesn't take hands units. I think she just takes creations and faces, and then potentially like non-vehicle support units, whatever they are. So you're kind of focusing on those, doubling down on those big monsters. Those
Please
big...
tell me that number of zombies. Oh, it's a create.
So, for example, the Nzombu Snake is a unit with the creation special rule. Kapla! And her special theme bonus is when you reanimate a creation, or when you carpathogen something and reanimate it, instead of -1 limit, you stick at the limit you had. So when they come back at the full force. They're not that kind of like half as good as they were.
You are playing these all so wrong.
I know, but I'm so looking forward to her box coming out. I want it now.
Box coming out.
Oh,
Well, she wants to change it. Don't like this box.
She has a fortune of 3, which is kind of average for a boss.
But 255, that's steep.
It is pretty steep, but I think she's worth it.
I think she's well worth it.
So if we move on to a couple of creations. So again, I don't have the stats for the creations in her posse box at the moment because I've only got some of the cards with me right now. But if we have a look at one of the biggest, baddest Mama Jammers in the game,
Creation 7.
Kind of,
7?
it is 7. Yeah, he's kind of a highlight of the Enlightened. Works specifically quite well with Byron because he's a creation, but he is kind of a centerpiece, if you like, for the Enlightened.
He's a bit
forces.
of a Battlehammer figure, isn't he?
He is, yeah, two-head Timmy. So Creation 7 is a big, giant monstrosity with 4 arms and 2 heads.
Played against him yesterday. He's horrible, isn't
He's nails. He's got an industrial drill on one hand, a industrial buzzsaw on the other, a razor spine rotor, which is like a Gatling weapon on another hand, and a napalm gun on the other hand. He is bonkers crazy. So
Is he unique?
he is unique.
Thank Christ for that.
Yeah, he is unique. He has got metal, unsurprisingly, unstoppable, unsurprisingly, tough, and tough. So he's one of the few models at the moment who has metal and tough. So when you try and kill him, he can become stunned from metal. Or no, he can become sworded from metal and then stunned from tough.
That's why it took me a lot of time,
So
a lot of
effectively
trouble
he's
to.
got 3 wounds.
Yeah,
if you
it took
like.
me a lot of effort to take him down.
He has the creation special rule, which we've talked about with Augusta Byron.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll get into why that's so damn good in a minute. His only real downside, but I kind of see it as a positive, potentially, how you use it.
Limit.
No, he has a split personality special rule.
Yeah.
So when activated, the unit must discard their action card and draw a new action card from the deck. The new card is applied immediately. So effectively what you would do is you would draw a card.
I've drawn a 3.
I've drawn a 3, I'm going to activate Creation 7 with it. You put the 3 down and you draw another card and you use that one.
Great if you draw a 1.
It is, yeah. I mean, a lot of people see it as a negative because you can't go, I'm going to give this 3 to you, but I can't guarantee that you're going to have it. However, if you draw a 1 or a 2 and you don't really, what am I going to do with this? Give it to him, you might get a better card. It's just handy.
Especially if you use some special shenanigans.
Yeah, I was using some special shenanigans in the last game we played. Annabelle Hamilton from the Dixie Rebellion posse, who we'll get onto in a little while. She's got a tactical brilliance, I think the special rule is. So you can manipulate the deck a little bit, and you go, and this 1's here, and then there's a 4 underneath it. I'm drawing a 1, I'm giving it to him. And it's a 4, look at that! Which was so good.
OP.
Going through his weapons, he's got a razor spine rotor, which is a Gatling gun type thing. He's got a napalm gun, which has torrent and engulf. Engulf is really good for clearing out buildings.
Oh yeah, it's everything, isn't it? Yeah.
But for me, he's personal good happy times. He's got an industrial drill, which has the lethal quality, and a Pierce -3. That's quite good. Rave attack 1, Pierce -3.
That's alright, but...
If only it could be higher than that.
It can't, can it?
Yes, it can.
No!
Creation. This unit may spend an additional action point to double the piercing value of a single strike action.
Up at
Pierce -6. And lethal, so they have to reroll on a success. Obviously, they don't have to reroll a crit, but still pretty dang good. And of course, Pierce -6, insta death.
Insta death.
Yeah, no metal, no coming away from that. He does also have an industrial buzzsaw.
Is that the one you can fling out?
No.
Oh.
Complex, brutal.
See, complex, that's
Yeah,
really good.
he's
He's
only
only got name of
He's only got a 5.
Complex
You
is
can
-2.
-2, focus it back up to 5, 50-50 chance.
50-50. What's the modifier on that when it hits?
So it's brutal, so it'll be 2 hits,
2 hits.
which is nice. Pierce -4 base, up to Pierce -8. What's that, Mr. Tanky Tank? I'm just going to cut you in half.
Oh, yeah.
And lethal on the crit if you need
You
it.
so want him when you're going up against people with lots of vehicles.
Yeah, you're only hitting 50% of the time, but then you can re-roll it with Point of Fortune. I mean, I'll say you're only hitting 50% of the time. That's if you focus it. Then you've got a potential re-roll, so you're probably, in theory, math hammering it, 75%.
It's just making sure you've got the fortune points to spend,
Yep.
and you're only going to want to blitz through those fortune points if you've got a refresh.
Yeah, and he has got the task special rule, so you need to be within, I think, 12 inches of your boss. You can't focus. I think because it used to be automatons, but now they've changed it to anything with a task special rule. But I mean, he's so super tough.
Yeah.
Like creation, so grit 7, -1 to their piercing because of creation.
And
tough for a reroll.
and it's a beautiful model.
Oh, it's a great model. It's a great model, and it just looks. It's a nice centerpiecey kind of big looking dude.
Unless it's grey.
And this is great. Yeah, whatever, Trevor. So he's the real big highlight. He's a support unit as well. So when we were talking earlier about not faces, being able to pick him as a support, I think that's a really cool thing. It means you're not going to remove faces out of your posse.
It's shitty when you get your adventure card that says destroy support for a victory point,
and he's the
and
support.
he's the only support in it, and you're like, I've got to pump so much into him to try and kill him to get 1 victory point.
Yeah,
And he on his own is going to stomp about and draw a lot of fire. but he can handle it. And if he's got someone with Carpathian,
with Carpathogen and be able to Byron bringing him back, he's then back to his limited 2. That's his only issue. Split personality I think's a double-edged sword. But his only real issue is his limited 2. If it was limited 3, he could get more done. It's not because you can't always like move and hit or whatever. But that's just me. Wow.
But yeah, Creation 7. Poop on a shoot.
Love him. Another creation who is out at the moment. Again, like we're not going to talk about the box that isn't out yet. Is an Azombu snake. So the big and another great sucker piece model, the big snake with 2 pointy tail ends.
I don't know. I haven't seen it on the table for
Yeah, whatever.
It's a big old zombie snake.
Quickness 7, which is nice. Mind 1, so that's a thing to be aware of with Dark Council special rule. So you
Go forward.
Super
forward.
easy to control, but of course
Attack.
if your opponent has it as well, then they can control it. So do bear that in mind. Fight 6.
Yeah, because it's not just it's any model you
Yep.
can.
Yep. So do bear that in mind if you're going up against like third man or something. He has the spiked tails, range 1, pierce -1, rate of attack 2. He does a frenzied attack, which is special, brutal, and lethal on the crit, pierce -3. But because it's a creation, double out to pierce -6. Love it, love it, love it. It does have the fickle special rule, so it must focus its combat action if it wants to make a special attack. So again, you want to be within 12 inches of a boss. Because it does. Oh no, it doesn't have task, so you don't have to be within 12 inches of a boss. But you do have to focus if you want to use that frenzied attack. And it will cost you an extra action point. So they're quite.
It's only got a limit of 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they can be. The Enlightened generally, they can be quite. What's the word? Like resource heavy. You know, you need to spend those action points to get the creation up. You need to spend a fortune to focus to get that big hit off. But when you do get that big hit off and you're insta-killing on -6.
But it's great for holding up units. Yuck.
Does have frenzy. If it was a critical success, it may make a free strike action. It's a free strike action, not a free extra hit.
It's another
a whole
attack.
action with potential for more. I mean, it's super cool. I like it a lot.
You've got 2 of them now, haven't you?
I do have 2 of
Are
them.
you ever going to get them both on the table?
I hope so one day. It's on a big extra large base.
Take them to the tournament. Take them to the tournament.
Just dead on the
Just
first
super
turn.
grabby snakes, him, her.
I'm thinking her with one on either side to give them tough. And just like dun.
That'd be awesome. I'll even paint one for you in that case, mate. That'd be awesome to see.
The other thing, the posse that's out at the moment is Annabelle Hamilton. She is part of the Dixie Resurrection.
Dixie?
Dixie Resurrection.
She was
theme
interesting to go against.
posse. Yeah, I've used her for the first time yesterday. At the request of Jens Mortensen, actually.
Yeah, James, I've
He
got
gave
one
me
thing to
some-
say, mate.
He gave me a bit of a nonsense list to play, and it was really good.
It was
super
really
fun.
nonsense.
It was. I loved it a lot. So
If you haven't seen the video, just pop over and see that last
Yeah.
video in the swamps.
oh yeah,
And
Dog
see
Swampy.
how ridiculous that list was.
Yeah. So theme-wise, she is the twin sister of Ben Hamilton, who's one of the characters in the Confederates.
Oh, I wonder why her name sounded familiar. I couldn't
Yeah.
place it.
So they are brother and sister. He is more of a he's off in the Confederate Rebellion, kind of fighting back against the Union, whereas she thinks that maybe there's another way the South can rise again.
Literally.
So she allows you to take in her theme posse. She allows you to take Enlightened guys and also some Confederate units as well. So you can have a bit of a mix, which I think is quite an interesting.
It's always nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, thematically you can take some different things. So theme posse, she's basically the same as quite similar to the normal posse, but with some Confederate stuff right at the end there on her 6th slot, which is super nice. And I had a lot of fun with it, because it allows you to take Creation 7, who's bonkers. But I also managed to take Slain, who's got PS -4 guns.
Because he's
Confederate. And the big Confederate Terminator, the big unstoppable guy with like 2 Gatling guns, which was bonkers. Again, she's really short range. She's only got grenades.
But they're pretty bloody nasty. They're -3 to your thing. And just remember, people, grenade. There is a certain way to use grenades.
Yes,
a lot of people do kind of mess them up. It's not on purpose.
No,
it's just they do a specific.
Yeah, you've got to make sure you're hitting the initial target, and you're not kind of scattering. And in a lot of games where you place down the template, whether it be a torrent template or a grenade template, and you just go, I want to cover this many people. Whereas you hit the initial target and it lands on their head, doesn't.
And that's remembering that if you're you can unfocus it to do your focused, so it's not indirect.
Indirect, yeah.
But then
indirect's a thing.
If you miss, you miss. It gets. Check your grenade rolls.
Yes, I had her card a minute ago. I don't know where I put it somewhere.
Her card was on a whole sheet.
It's in here. That's where it is. Nothing like being prepared, is there? So
that's why we're professional.
That's why we're professionals. Fortune 3, 230 points. Fine and dandy, dandy and fine.
And again, is she mutant monstery?
Mutant monster. Yeah, she's tainted. Yeah, there's a lot of tainted in the Enlightened. There's only a few models that aren't.
They really need to go see a doctor.
Yeah. So she has thermite grenades. They are brutal, indirect and blast. Hazardous on the crit.
Brutal.
Only happens on the initial target. Doesn't happen if you hit like 5 or 6 people. You don't get 5 or 6 extra hits from the brutal.
Only on the initial targets.
Or the target model. Range only 6, but pierce -3, so that's nice. She's got a little mouse gun, which I think I used a couple of times just because.
It fires a mouse.
Yeah, just like a little dare injury thing. Pierce -2 though, which isn't bad. Lethal on the crit. Hammer hand, parry and disorder on the crit. Pierce -1. More handy for the parry than anything else to keep her alive a little longer.
Oh yeah.
But really, the back of her card is the super interesting stuff. She has Carpathogen, unsurprisingly, so she can bring people back from dead. Portal Mastery, so she can manipulate portals.
Ooh, so she can create portals.
She can create portals. Or don't forget what you can do with Portal Mastery is you can close
other people's portals.
Which is, I think, the thing that people do forget. Because you can spend a lot of time shooting it, but you can just close it without, and then they don't get a grit check.
Is it still manipulate? You still have to
manipulate portal action.
So it's just an action. You haven't got to roll anything.
No, I mean you do have to roll. I think it's similar to creating a portal.
So it'd be your mind and aim.
Mind and aim minus the range. Get that.
Nice.
But then they'd have to make a grit check, like because the amount of times we were finding out with those traps, how much did I have to shoot them? Like if I was to do the same thing with a portal and wanted to blow it up, whereas I could just go super handy. Rebel Yell. This is an important thing with her theme posse. Everything becomes Confederate, and she can affect constructs with her Rebel Yell, which she normally wouldn't be able to do. Special combat action. Once it's been made by this unit, any other units with the human and Confederate traits gain +1 to their limit attribute for the duration of the turn.
Within 8
inches. Does not stack with other limit bonuses.
So things like
Creation 7.
Spidery Walkers and suddenly go from limit of 2 to a limit of 3.
Yeah, or Creation 7.
Creation 7 go to limit,
which is super nice. Or any other of those big creations that you want. Or even someone like Slain can go up to limit 4. I mean, you know, it's only so good because you still need to have the action points to spend on them, but got a lot of potential for a big turn there. Especially if you've got the right adventure cards in your hand.
Yeah.
She does have the Rabble Rouser special rule. She can include an additional Angry Mob. I don't know how super useful it is. It's nice to have it.
Angry Mob, great for meat shields.
Meat shields, yeah, getting in the way and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas civilians, you might get a victory point out of it if you save them, but if they die, it's a victory point lost. But Angry Mob, just stick them in front.
Yeah, a couple of Angry Mobs getting in the way.
We are the Angry Mobs. We read the papers every day. We don't.
We?
No, we don't.
I haven't.
I haven't read a paper since I left work all those years ago because they make me mental.
But her super cool special rule that I
another one.
made a fair use of out of yesterday. Tactical Brilliance. Gains +1 to reserve checks using Mind attribute. That's alright. Once per turn, the unit, when activated, may spend 2 action points to look at the top 3 cards from either their adventure deck or their action deck and shuffle them into any order and replace them on the top of that deck. Super good. I actually managed to win initiative yesterday because I used that, because I knew that she activated. I had, I think, 2 more activations, and then it was initiative. So I activated her first, had 3 cards to pick, and I think I had a 2, a 3, and a 3 on my action cards. But one of the 3s was like 37, and the other 3 was about, I don't know, 20.
Yeah.
So I put the 37 at the bottom, knowing that that was going to be my initiative card.
Yeah.
I then won initiative ready for the next turn.
Awesome, awesome use.
And also with Creation 7, I could, knowing that I had split personality come up, I had a 2 and a 4, so I put the 2 as the like crap one that I could draw. Oh, I have to draw another card. Oh, look, it's a 4. I knew that was coming. Super, super handy skill to have. So sometimes when you look at a card, the front of a card, and go, oh yeah, but she's really close range and she can't really shoot anything, you know what? Stuff like that is super good.
Because some of that is like amazing.
Yeah, I love it. There are 3 kind of bosses. Other highlights for me, I'm just going to go through.
Yeah, quick highlights, that'd be good.
Quick highlights,
you know,
like faces that I would take, for example.
Slain!
What?
Slain!
No.
Slain!
No, Slain, I've taken that because you got the Confederate special rule. In a general Enlightened force. One of my personal favourites is Francis!
And why would you not want the Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, so Francis Tumblety, he's based on a historical figure that was potentially Jack the Ripper, and that's cool in and of itself. The model's nice, but he does have on the back of his card, he's got the Sawbone special rule, so providing tough to people within 3. He has got the Dark Council special rule, so again, as we were talking earlier, he can compel your dudes around the map.
Does he bring a Hexalith as well?
Yes, because of Dark Council, and I believe he's got Carpathogen as well, so he can bring people back from
so
the
yeah,
dead.
Francis.
So again, that's another guy I would
That's
take
not just
purely
that.
for the back of his card,
But
and because he's got these brutal gauntlets, which are pretty cool. These like they fire like almost like ninja stars out. They look really cool. But yeah, the back of his card is just so good.
He is really awesome. Who else do you like?
The twins. The twins, yeah, I love the twins. Dieter and Schultz Kaufmann.
These are so overpowered.
They're not. I mean, to be fair, you have to pay 2 of them, and they're nearly 300 points. They're like 2.5.
Being able to steal everybody's abilities when you kill them.
So I'll just read you one card. I won't need to read the other one because they're twins. They've got slightly different weapons. Both got a point of fortune, which is super nice for them. They've got like averagey stats: quickness 6, mind 6, fight, grit, and aim of 5, limit 3. They also both have a Mortician's Blade, which is quite nice, which is parry, to keep them a bit alive a bit longer, and Pierce -2 base, which is pretty good. But really, it's all about the back of their card again. They both have the Teamwork special rule, so Teamwork means that if a face activates within 8 of them, they can then activate as a triggered activation straight away. And because they both have it, you can activate one of them, whichever one you want to act first, then the other one will activate with it as long as they're within 8. Which is super handy.
Yeah.
But Leeched Ability and Gene Link. So Leeched Ability, whenever this unit successfully destroys an enemy unit, this unit may select a special rule from the back of the destroyed unit's card. Selected rule is then added to this unit for the remainder of the game. Note that it cannot use a special rule if it does not have traits required to use it. Furthermore, if a special rule provides several special rules itself, only one of those special rules may be leached. So, if someone has got, I don't know, Creation, you can steal that. If they've got, what else is good? Dying Breath, that's a good one to steal. Rapid, so they can, focus their move for free, anything like that.
Transport.
In theory, yes, transport.
Ooh, I can get 10 men in me.
I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff you can steal.
But then it gets even weirder, doesn't it?
It gets even weirder because they have Gene Link. At the start of their activation, a unit with this rule, they both have this, may duplicate any one special rule acquired through the Leeched Ability special rule from a friendly unit with the Leeched Ability special rule within 12. So if one person kills that guy and steals them, next activation you activate this guy, he's got the rule as well.
That's only for that round.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
No, because they just acquire it from the Leeched Ability. So they both get it. Super cool. I love them. And they're both like cool. They've got these long coats, and they're both like.
Think of the twins in Matrix. Was
Yeah,
it the
that
third
kind
one?
of vibe. Second or third one, I forget which one. I think they're really, really cool. I like them a lot.
Ball droppings.
I think they're fun. Who else? Who else do I like using at the moment?
No one.
There's loads of weird and wonderful things in there, so go and check them out. Lots of big Frankenstein's monsters. They've got a few interesting little dudes in
So
there.
to summarise, I think it's Frankenstein-y monsters
Yep.
that can keep you bring them back. They can blow up. You can tie up your enemies with them. You get great big monsters,
Yeah.
great big snakes. Everyone has the chance of turning into hex beasts.
Yeah.
And if you play them, your opponents will hate you.
Yeah, pretty much. And one good thing to be aware of, if you're so inclined, is a lot of the outlaw theme posses can also work with Enlightened. So a lot of the outlaw theme posses will say works with this faction, and this faction,
Ooh.
and most of them work with Enlightened, as
Ooh.
far as I can remember. There's only a couple that don't. I think Billy the Kid doesn't.
Hey, they're nasty. They're
So if you do want to take those extra outlaw things, or maybe you want to expand into a new faction,
Ah,
there's definitely potential for that. I'm trying to think what else there is. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments down below, and I'll do my best to answer anything. Any thoughts? If you want us to do an even deeper dive,
How can we go any deeper than that? That's pretty deep.
That's pretty deep. But if you know, I don't want to go through every single.
That's as deep as we will ever go. That's pretty damn good, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be spending time going through each individual card.
No, that's not what we do. You just want to give them the general feel.
Things to be aware of: do make sure you're in range for Carpathogen, which I forget all the pig in time, and do make sure you've got a fortune point saved for it as well. Again, I forget. I go, I'm in range. Oh, I've got no fortune points.
Yeah.
Or I've got fortune points. I'm not in range. So bear that in mind. Which is why I picked Jedediah Smith. That's the other guy who's got Carpathogen.
Smith.
I picked him up the other day because there's another guy with Carpathogen, and he's got Sikkim, which is always nice to have. It's a handy rule.
Lets you buy some doggies.
Take dogs and teamwork with them, which is good, and the free focus is nice.
Yeah.
So if you want some weird shenanigansy things, and you kind of feel you want to play like a necromancer list, but you don't want to play necromancers,
Yeah, they're not
Similar
they're not
vibe.
technically undead, but
it's a similar vibe in the way you play.
play Enlightened.
Yeah, go teams.
Why wouldn't you want to play Enlightened? Is there anything about it?
If you don't like the idea of disposable troops, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
you know, if you don't want your guys to die from a story perspective, or maybe that's just not how you feel about things, because plenty of people don't, and that's fine, then don't take them, because all your hands units are disposable. And also that can be a negative, because if your opponent destroys a hands unit and gets victory points for you, like, oh, they're all disposable, that's fine, yeah, but if your opponent scores VPs on them...
I remember, even once you've wiped them out the first time, you get the point, and if you wipe them out again...
You can potentially get another point if you've got
the
more cards and
cards.
whatnot next turn. If you want to take more faces and more of those cool individual guys, because there are loads of individual face dudes you can potentially take, but not all in the same army, because you can really only take about 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want more fortune, there are other factions with more fortune about.
Which we will come
Hashtag
to
man.
in another
Video.
episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Enlightened. So thank you, Mr. Parker.
Go team. Boom.
That was the Enlightened. Next
Yeah.
time we'll do
Talk
another
about something
faction.
else. Let us know what you thought in the comments down below. If there's
Yep.
tweaks or whatever, because it's the first time we've done something like this.
Yeah.
So happy to learn.
Well, we'll read what you said and then we'll ignore it.
Potentially.
But yeah. So thank you for joining us on the first of a new series
Yes, of faction.
of Enlightenment.
That's what you did there.
We don't need to give them the whole up there and down there for these, because what's the point?
If you really want to, I'll put the Patreon link. You can go to there and donate money to our Patreon account. We'd appreciate it if you did.
Oh, look at that, quite right in there.
Right in
There.
there. But most importantly, don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked it and want to subscribe. If you don't like it and don't want to subscribe, you don't have to like and subscribe it. We would like if you liked and subscribed. And until next time, stay hammered!
We're going to get done for copyright at some point.